All right, I am live. Hello, everybody. I guess small change of plans. I was going to record a patron cast with Brian tonight, but he had a work thing come up at the last minute, and I haven't heard from him. So I have a feel. I'm not sure how long he's going to be. So I figured like 8:25. The plan was to not do a short shifts tonight, since Brian and I were doing the patron cast, and our short shifts hosts were busy. But now with Brian not here, I think I'm going to call an audible, and I guess I could just try to record like a solo short shifts. If anyone is in the chat here and wants to join me, I guess let me know, and I could DM you the link to join. But I don't have a plan here, but I think I have some notes of just random stuff going on, so I guess I can just kind of vamp for a bit. We'll have something. I'll release it, and then we'll do a patron cast next week, some other time. But thanks for your patience. Sorry for keeping you waiting. So yeah, why not? Let's do it. Um, should I wait to now see if anyone wants to come on? I guess it's a real last minute. You need to have a good microphone. Okay, that's crazy. That's a crazy suggestion. Just forget that. I'll just do it. I could do it by myself. Done it before, I think, once. Got my water. Let's go. I don't even know if people could hear me, actually. No one said anything since I came on. But I don't know. Let me know if you can hear me. Let's do this. What's up, champs? Welcome to another episode of Keeping Karlsson Short Shifts, where we look at. Oh my gosh, I didn't think that through. Okay, what do you think of Russia? Oh yeah, throw me questions, and we'll see how this goes. Okay. What's up, champs? Welcome to the Short Shifts Fantasy Hockey Podcast presented by Keeping Karlsson. A little bite-sized look at what's been going on for the last couple of days in the NHL in between our midweek mega episodes. I'm your host for today, Elon Dubrovsky, going solo, actually. A little last-minute change of plans. I was going to record a patron cast with Brian tonight, and we weren't going to do a Short Shifts because everyone was busy for the holidays. But then it turned out Brian had a work thing come up, and so we're going to postpone that patron cast. That's going to be next week or whatever, as soon as we can. And in the meantime, I figured since I'm sitting here behind my microphone, I'm live. I got people here in the chat. Let's just throw a short shifts together. There's been stuff going on. So let's talk about it. And so, yeah, I'm going to definitely be just sort of coming up with things a bit on the fly, but I have some notes that I've been taking throughout the week. So why not just kind of go through and see what there's to talk about? We've got some fun people here in the chat that could help feed me some topics as we go. How about this for a first topic? Let's go to Arizona. We got some news today. First of all, Sean Durzi is finally going to play today. So they say. This time it seems for real. I don't know. He did like play that one game, then missed a bunch more games with his injury. In his one game back, he only had 2 shots, didn't play that many minutes. So, I'm not necessarily expecting big things, but Valimaki is apparently being scratched. And so you'd expect Jersey's going to get back on the top power play, and we'll see if he can help trigger the Coyotes to do well. And I mean, they've been doing fine, actually. They just beat the Sens in their last game, and they beat Buffalo in the game before that, and they beat San Jose in the game before that. So, yeah, I guess they're just hoping that Jersey doesn't sink them tonight. But I think that, if you have them in your IR, I guess you've already seen the result probably here, but we'll see how the Coyotes do against the Sharks in a rematch with Jersey in. Also, a big thing going on in Arizona while I'm here is that Ingram really, really flubbed it in his last game. It was a real bummer for anyone who has him. A minus 3.6 couple points in that game versus Ottawa. He got pulled after only taking 6 shots against, led in 3 of them, and then 14 and a half minutes into the first period, Ingram was out. Vejmelka came in, and it's like, this is why goalies are so freaking hard. It's like, what are we even supposed to do? Like Vejmelka, who had been doing nothing all season long but lose and be terrible. Actually, Vejmelka had like 3 really good games to start the season. Feels like forever ago. But after that, if you look at the game log, it's all like 800, level save percentages. And then, yeah, all of a sudden, though, after they gave the net to Ingram, let him play every single game for a while. At one point, Vejmelka came in for a back-to-back stunk, so they went back to Ingram again. But then, all of a sudden, Vejmelka came in for a start against the Sabres on the second half of a back-to-back, a cool 28 save shutout. Then Vejmelka came in to replace Ingram, and he again was perfect and got the win against Ottawa. It was a smart, shrewd move by the coach to make the swap there, stop 16 for the shutout. So we're looking at almost a game in 45 minutes of shutout time now for Vejmelka, almost 2 games, and he's getting the call tonight against San Jose. I have Ingram on my cupful team. I'm wondering if maybe it's becoming time to consider cutting bait. I guess I'll see what happens tonight, though. I do also have Jersey in my IR. So if I want to activate Jersey, I'm gonna have to drop someone. I'm trying to decide if I should drop Ingram. So that's my big decision. And obviously, knowing how tonight's game goes for Vejmelka will help a lot. Just jumping around a little bit in the game logs happening today. The Sabres are destroying the Leafs, and Ilya Samsonov has been pulled. So on the last short shifts that I was just listening to with Lewis and Jeremy, which was a really good episode, by the way, check it out. They were talking about if like Martin Jones is someone to jump on, and there was reasons to do it. He had like a run of at least fantasy relevance last year. He was pretty good, and today though the Leafs started Samsonov again. I think there was a quote from the coach like, "Well, we gotta get him going at some point." Like it wasn't like a big vote of confidence. Like we're playing him because we need him to get going. But didn't go well. Samsonov let in 5 goals on 19 shots, and now he's been pulled at 6-3 for the Sabres. Now I see Martin Jones has come in and he's already letting a goal on a single shot. So this whole Leaf situation not looking that great. A shorthanded goal against. Look at that by Kyle Okposo. Welcome to the game, Martin Jones. So what's my takeaway? I don't know. Short shifts is more of just a news show, So who knows what the takeaway is? Takeaway is the Leafs goalies stink right now, and they need to figure something out. I really don't think Martin Jones is the answer. Personally, I don't think many people do. As far as fantasy goes, it's hard not to like want the starting goalie on a Leafs game. Like for the Leafs, like anytime they play, we recommended in our group chat for short shifts. Like that Shams was wondering who to stream in, and he had Samsonov available, and I was like, go for Samsonov. If he plays well, maybe he'll get the next start for the Leafs. And it turned out to not work out. So I apologize for that. And yeah, I'm curious to see how things are going to shake out at Toronto. They're waiting for a savior, Joseph Woll, to come back. Maybe he can, do some more healing with this long break coming up. Next up, Shams actually is throwing here some new lines going on for the Panthers. They're down 2-1 to St. Louis. Apparently, they're lining up Kachuk, Barkov, Reinhardt. Ooh. So that's hopefully going to help get Matthew Kachuk going with these two studs that have been going well all season. And that leaves Sam Bennett to play with Verhage and Rodriguez. Sam Bennett, someone I just recently dropped actually in the cupful. Too many players on my roster that I liked, and I guess I decided I liked them better than Bennett. This doesn't make me feel too bad about it. Personally, if Bennett loses Kachuk as a line mate, obviously then that makes things a little worse for him. Obviously, we'll see how this goes. I guess this is a mid-game change, so we'll have to see how things play out. It's 2-1 for the Blues currently. I think I said Pavel Buchnevich having himself a nice game, a goal and an assist. He also had a goal that was called off, so he's doing well. Kyrou, goal and an assist. Rob Thomas, a goal and assist. Okay, so it's just been the three at that line. What line is better, that line or the Winnipeg top line? That line's been cruising. Should I bring that up as a short shift topic? Why, like Velarde? Brian and I were discussing Velarde versus who was it, like Timo Meyer or something on the last podcast. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I was Team Velarde at this point. Like Velarde, come on. Like this guy's incredible. He just had a 3-point game against Detroit. He's scored in 4 straight games now, multi-point games. This line, like, Scheifele, Ehlers, and Velarde is just crushing it. So if Velarde's still out there for you, like this might be getting towards Clown League levels if he's still there. But if he is still there, go get him. And I don't think he's like a sell high right now. Maybe people would, I'm not looking too deep into the analytics. I just know that this line which maybe they're overperforming. Maybe they have a high shooting percentage as a line, but it's the top line on the Jets, and they're all really good players. And Velarde's someone that we've never really seen have a huge chance, right? So he's only 24 years old. He's a high pedigree guy, drafted 11th overall. It's not like this is just some nobody. So I'm pretty stoked about Gabe Velarde. Wish I had him somewhere, but I do have Ehlers. So I'm definitely enjoying that. Let's see here. Oh, we had a question from Phil Torius here in the chat. What do you think of Columbus's Russian line's potential? Well, obviously they had that huge last game where they scored 9 goals. Are the Blue Jackets playing today? So currently they're playing against Washington, 2-1 for the Caps. Yeah, obviously no goal for Ovechkin. I was seeing some tweets today, like during the game, like while I was waiting for Brian to come, I was seeing like just tweets like, "Oh, if he really wants to score, oh, he rang one off the crossbar." Like, I don't know, what does he have? 3 shots today. So, but anyways, the question was about Columbus. Yeah, this Marchenko and Chinnikov and Voronkov line. I mean, I guess it's a tough question. What is their potential? Like, I think they've probably like done better than their potential so far, right? Like I think if anything, it's like you're worried about how far they're gonna fall. Like they've been all three of them on this incredible run. You know, what do you want to say? Like a probably like upside for like if they can all be, like on like a 60-ish, 65 point pace, and then Marchenko, if he's on the top power play, I guess Voronkov has been getting top power play. Actually, all that's been the three of them and Gaudreau on the top power play with Werenski. So theoretically, if those lines stick, and then yeah, you're hoping for maybe like a 70 point total upside, but that's probably a bit too high. This is Columbus after all. Um, so I don't know, but like long term, it's exciting. Lines though like rarely stick together like that long, especially on Columbus. So that would even just be exciting if this line actually sticks together for the whole season. But yeah, it's been a fun revelation here. Voronkov is someone I'm pretty stoked about having called. It doesn't happen for me too often that I could talk about a prospect that no one really knows about, even like the experts, and say like I have my eye on this guy. It turned out to be right. I added a guy today. This for sure won't be right. Like I'm not saying that anyone shouldn't do it, but it's sort of like my strategy in fantasy for my dynasty league. Because like again, I think I've mentioned I usually trade my high picks, but I'm like watching free agency like a hawk, and I'm trying to find the next, Voronkov. The next it's a super deep league. Like no one is available, but like I got Voronkov out of free agency. I got Tommy Novak out of free agency last year. I just added a guy named Jake Lucchini out of free agency. He's on Minnesota. He just got called up. He's been doing well in the minors. Looks like he got called up, but he's a healthy scratch today. So I guess he's not going to do something for me. But I don't know. We'll see. He's leading the Iowa Wild in goals. He's like 28 years old. Never really gotten a chance. He was on the Sens before. So we'll see. By the way, the Wild up 2-0 on Montreal right now. Marco Rossi has himself a cool goal and assist. Rossi on the top power play I'm seeing. There was a Matt Boldy power play goal. So yeah, I guess that's a pretty good spot to be. And so if Rossi's been dropped, like obviously with the top line being loaded up with Eriksson, Kaprizov, and Boldy, you generally wouldn't think that there's anyone else at even strength that you'd be that interested in. But I'll take a guy on the top power play. And yeah, so it's Boldy, Eriksson, Kaprizov, of course, Brock Faber today, Spurgeon's still out, like, and then Rossi, that's been the top power play. So yeah, take a look at Marco Rossi. Maybe he'll be able to get something going. I guess he's been on the power play for a while. It's nice to see him get a goal and assist. Maybe get some confidence going into the holiday. Let's see. I have some notes here still before I go back to the chat here. So, Drysdale and McTavish are expected to be back today. So that's exciting. Do we have Anaheim lines? I'm guessing no. Do we ever? Let me check game day tweets quickly. We've got lines from the 20th. That was yesterday. And that did not include either of those guys. So, oh no, Drysdale was there on the top pairing. Oh, and then I saw like a Zegras McTavish Lundestrom was like an injured line. But yeah, if McTavish comes back, I'm curious because like the top line's been when Leo Carlsson's in the in the lineup, Karlsson, Killorn, and Terry, and then sometimes like a Henrique or whatever goes in. So, um, yeah, that'll be something like definitely I would check and see if like how that shakes out, after you listen to this. I guess you'll check your box scores of Calgary versus Anaheim. That's happening later tonight, and then I think Zegras is going to be coming soon too. So it's going to be a whole new look Ducks. I personally have a vested interest in Alex Killorn. I added him out of free agency in the cupful. I'm very excited to see if Killorn is going to be able to keep up what he's been doing. He's been on a nice run for a free agent ad, but of course it's because he's been on the top line and top power play. Once you bring in all of these guys, like who's going to be on the top power play? I'd imagine Zegras, Terry, for sure. McTavish, you would think for sure, and then there's a fourth spot that I guess can go to Killorn and can go to um, Leo Carlsson, of course, Vetrano. I mean, they were talking on the last episode, Lewis and Jeremy, about like what's going to happen to Vetrano. He might get better even strength line mates, but maybe he gets bumped off the top power play. So we'll find out. And then also, I'm interested to see what's going to happen on defense, right? If Drysdale's back, does that bump Minchukov from the top power play? Intrigue over in Anaheim. And again, I'm just reporting the news. I don't know. We had a question about the Sabres. Is Dylan Cousins a snoozer? Who asked that? Do I have that written down here? Oh, if this was a main show, I would have had this all really prepared. But these are just little notes I've been taking. I believe that Dylan Cousins today. Okay, I'll just make an edit point here. Hey, Brian.
Am I allowed on the show?
Sure. I switched it over to being a short shifts. And did you see my message?
I did. I wrote back and said, I'm sorry, and asking
Oh,
if I'm too late.
well, you could join the rest of short shifts, but I don't think I want to do patron casts now.
Okay.
Because
How much longer is short shifts?
I don't know,
Like, have you
maybe
just
like
started?
20 minutes.
Okay. I'd love to join you for it. It would make me
Okay.
happy.
All right, cool. So let me just go back and start the Sabres again. I was just going to talk about his Dylan Cousins, a snoozer. I'm kind of just like coming up with the topics as I go here. But everything okay with you? How you doing?
No, actually, no. Oh, so wait, are
Why
we
don't you just take a
live?
break then? Yeah, we're
Are we
live.
live?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
live.
No, oh. Um
You don't need to be put on the spot. We could just chat after,
No,
or like,
I'm good. No, this would actually be really nice for me.
okay, sure.
I would enjoy this. This would make me feel good.
All right. Let me actually message. I never messaged Dina to give her the update here. I'm gonna tell her that I'm gonna because we were actually downloaded Survivor from yesterday, but I told her we wouldn't be able to watch tonight because I was doing the patron cast. So now if I'm done by
Oh,
9,
so you were
it'll be a
just
fun
looking for
surprise.
an excuse.
No, I definitely wanted to start the patron cast like 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But we'll do it another time. Okay. So okay. Hope everyone's enjoying here. Oh, I was just talking about. Okay, well, I don't even remember what I talked about. Maybe someone in the chat could give Brian a quick recap of everything I've talked about so far, but it doesn't matter. I'll bring it up as we go. All right, so I'm gonna go back. Okay, before we get to our next topic, I have a special guest. Brian Cobb has joined the chat. Brian, second week in a row that we're doing a short shifts together. How's it going, pal?
Hey, or like semi together. Good. I'm so happy to be here. And everything you've said so far, I mostly agree with. There's one mystery thing that I disagree with, but maybe we'll take that on at some other moment. No, the truth is, I'm just joining. I'm so happy. I'm joining like midstream here. So you're warmed up. I'm going to try and warm up and catch up with you. P.S. Should I start Audacity?
Give me at the point. At this point, no, I'll just use the recording
Okay.
from Zoom. Doesn't
Okay.
have to be perfect. Okay. All right. All right, so I guess the next topic, Brian, I wanted to bring up quickly, and like I mentioned to people, I was just going to kind of be figuring this out as I go because we were preparing for a different show here. But I wanted to look into Dylan Cousins, who we've had a question, I think it was on Twitter or on our Discord, whether he's a snoozer. And I feel like this has got to put the nail in the coffin, right? The Sabres are up 6-3. Oh, it was on Twitter because I remember I tagged Victor and he gave an answer because the question was like for both this year and like for a keeper league long term. But yeah, the fact that the Sabres are up 6-3 and Cousins doesn't even have a point, that hurts, right? Like if you held Cousins this whole time through this cold streak, you expect that at least he's going to get an assist or something on a game like this. He's playing on a line with Paterka and Jack Quinn. Oh, Shams was mentioning in the chat that Paterka is also someone he's thinking of dropping. Yeah, also Paterka with no points. Today's been all about like Thompson and Jeff Skinner, who's back in the lineup, and then a bunch of lesser knowns, Kyle Okposo with his shorty, Connor Clifton getting in on one when Power scored a goal. But yeah, Brian, at this point, if you're holding Dylan Cousins, I think you're probably snoozing, right? He's been cold for a while.
He's been cold for a while, but like this is coming off a 70-point season last year, right? Like, so it's hard to like fully embrace the fact that all of a sudden Dylan Cousins isn't good anymore. He was dropped in actually a fairly shallow league of mine, and I've been looking to add him like when he gets it going. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna ruin this whole show. For what it's worth, his underlying numbers compared to, like at 5-on-5 compared to his 70-point pace season last year, very similar. But he's scoring like just barely the rate per 60 at which Cousins is scoring is not quite half, but almost half of what it was last year. And there's two factors for that. The first is his 6.5% shooting percentage versus 14% last year, although we don't know what Cousins' true shooting talent is yet. So there is, maybe he is more of like an 8 or 9% shooter, and last year was unsustainably high shooting. But also on ice, just 7.5%. on ice shooting percentage for Cousins, which I would expect to be at least a percentage point higher, which doesn't move the needle a ton, but it should move it a little. On the power play too, he's all well on the power play. Cousins isn't having quite as many problems producing. His points per 60 is pretty similar to last season, but still, I wonder if, I mean, we've talked about the Sabres power play struggles a lot, but I mean, you're asking, is there permission to drop Cousins? I think there is. I would just want him on your watch list, like for quick access, because I do think there's still a solid chance that he can turn things around. I mean, he does have 5 points in his last 4 games. It's just two of those were multi-point outings, and two of them, or well, one's in progress right now, and he still doesn't have any. So 5 points in his last 3 games, and but the game in between was a cardio session. So I hear the impatience about Cousins, and in shallower leagues I drop him, but in the cupful, I don't think I'd be ready quite yet. Would you drop him in the cupful, Elon?
Yeah, I don't know. I just dropped Sam Bennett, so you
Yeah,
can
you're
tell me.
crazy. You
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 think
were
it was
like,
so
should I
crazy to drop Bennett?
Sam the Sham Bennett? Yeah,
Sham
he
Shams Bennett.
not Sam the Sham Benamor. Sam the Sham. There's so much going on here. Sam Bennett, like I guess it was like a little bold because he had that 3 point night where it seemed like, oh, maybe things have busted open, and included the power play goal. He's still not on the top power play, which I know irks you, and reasonably so. But he followed that 3 point game up with 5 shots, and so far tonight against St. Louis, he's got two. So there's a good shot, good chance of Bennett having a third. I don't know. I would. It's hard to find. I mean, it's hard to find Sam Bennett. Like if he does end up being a 60 point player, it's hard to find that on waivers. So, but that's the difference between you and I. You're quicker to cut bait. But I loved your question. Should I drop Bennett or Killorn? And like I have Killorn, and he's actually like he's on my bench a couple nights this week, and I'm okay with it because he's been so good.
Yeah, I have Killorn also on my bench today. I also have Barbashev on my bench. I could have dropped either of those guys, but I dropped Bennett. Barbashev on my bench with a goal right now. So what are you gonna do? Sometimes you got an embarrassment of riches. Your players are too good. So poor me. Feel sorry for me. But of
This
course
is
it'll.
like how is this happening in the season where like every time we go on air, you're like, my
No,
team sucks. They're
I
just
traded all those guys.
okay. So this is your new team, and now your new team is just like an embarrassment of riches. Maybe you should change your team name.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I like the Karlsson quote. I still like Karlsson, even though I traded him. But yeah, Pittsburgh, by the way, playing Nedeljkovic for the second game in a row today. So that was an unexpected thing. Obviously, very frustrating for Jari managers. Has that game started? Let's see here. Yeah, it's 1-1 after 2 periods. That's pretty good for Nedeljkovic. What are we seeing here? 16 saves on 17 shots. Definitely not giving the Penguins a reason to necessarily go back to Jari. So it's this kind of season, Brian. Like there's no good goalies anymore. Like we were talking about this on the Discord. Like all your goalies that we thought were going to be volume starters, like there's a couple of them left, but a lot of them are either getting volume but not doing well, like how Ottinger was doing before getting hurt, or just like losing that volume and like it's tricky. So I don't know if I'm a
Yeah.
Jari. Like I actually had Jari to start the season. He's one of my. I posted Brian in our group chat, our short shifts group chat, that my draft results. I was looking back. I only have 4 people left on my team that I drafted. So Jari was one of them. I flipped him for Nichushkin early on. Obviously happy with how that's worked out. But yeah, if you have Jari, I don't know. I think you might be close to a tandem. Like I guess I've asked you this before, like a month ago, and you were like, "Don't worry about it." But I don't know. At least in the short term, Nedeljkovic isn't. I mean, and now I'm probably jinxing him. There's still a period to go. Maybe the Hurricanes are about to blast Nedeljkovic out of the water. But seems to me like I don't know. I would be a little nervous if I had Jari.
Yeah. I hear that. I would be nervous too. I have Jari in a wins only league where like really you just want the volume starters, and if you don't have enough, they're really hard to get. And I'm feeling the heat a little bit as a Jari manager. I think that's reasonable. I mean, I think what you said is kind of smart about Nedeljkovic. Like, there's still a period left in the game. Like, he could blow up. Like his last two starts, 857 and 889. Or sorry, one game he came on in relief, and I know we could just sort of kick that to the curb. Prior to that, he had a few solid ones that were spaced out by like 10 days. So whether Nedeljkovic can handle a starter's workload is part of the equation here, and I'm not sure he
Oh,
can.
But to be fair, I'm not saying I
Yeah.
think Nedeljkovic is going to be the starter. I just think we're looking at closer to a
Okay,
tandem.
so maybe whether Nedeljkovic can even have handle like a heavier workload remains to be
Right.
seen, you know. So we'll see. Your goalie point though is definitely well taken, and like you were already sharing your like Schmorgoldies board thoughts for next year, where I
Yeah.
think you
Here's
were
my
saying
new plan.
your
No
new
tier
plan. You
one.
said you were gonna write every goalie's name on a piece of paper, crumple it up, throw it into a hat, and we'll draw tiers that way. And we might have as much success. I mean, shout out to Thatcher Demko,
He's good.
16 wins, 921. Connor Hellebuck, 15 wins, 916. Although he had a moment where he stumbled. Sergei Bobrovsky, 14 wins, 911.
Hmm.
Cam Talbot, we wouldn't have expected. UC Saros is back, right? He's doing all right again. 14 wins. He's up to a 908 save percentage. So those are the guys who have given you exactly or nearly what you've expected. And then you have Shestyorkin and Ottinger who are still getting the volume and well, maybe not quite as many wins and not quite as high a save percentage. And that's it. Aiden Hill also like a little secret shout out to him. He's not playing the same volume, but 10 wins and a 933 save percentage.
Yeah, but we didn't like, people could have played 0G strategy and gotten Aiden Hill. There's no way to know. Though now, speaking of Hill and the Golden Knights, Hill is injured, and now Logan Thompson is injured. So Yuri Patera is playing today. Not going too well. Tampa scored 4. Tampa's a good team, of course, but they've dropped 4 on Patera 2 periods in on 24 shots. So we'll see what happens. They have another guy. Oh man, I forget already the name. There was another goalie that had a cool name that they called up to be the backup for Patera tonight. Let me see. Let me just go here to uh to game day tweets and I'll see because I know it was like a tweet with like a picture of the, oh, there it is. Isaiah Seville. He's the backup. So maybe we'll see Isaiah Seville get in on Saturday. So we'll find out. By the way, these 4 goals by Tampa, 2 of them have been assisted by the namesake of the last Short Shifts episode, Better Call Paul, Nick Paul. He's on again. Go back and get Nick Paul because the difference between before and now is Nick Paul is on the top line now with Point and Kucherov. This goal that just happened at the end of the second period today, Braden Point, even strength, Brian. Braden Point assisted by Nick Paul and Nikita Kucherov. So not only is he on the top power play because Nick Paul also assisted on a Braden Point power play goal, but now he's also on the top line. This is a pause the pod for me. And actually, I have
Are you
I
gonna
have
pause
Nick
the
Paul. I'm
pod?
realizing
Oh,
no, because
okay.
I've already used all 4 of my
Me too.
moves.
And you have
Ugh.
him.
No, I don't have
Oh,
him.
you don't have him.
I've used
Oh,
all
so
my
you
4 moves.
just
Now
told your
he's
opponents to.
told
Which move
well.
would you take back if you could?
Well, today I added Sam Ersson when I saw that Hart was injured for the spot start, but I'm like losing right now and projected to lose by 30. So I'd rather just focus for next week and have Nick Paul instead of Ersson and leave Hart in IR. So oh well, dum de dum. But whatever, it's not only
Do you
about
feel
me.
better knowing that like in his past 20 games, Nick Paul had like
I don't
5 points?
care.
No,
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 because
I know you don't
yeah,
care. Yeah,
the
yeah.
point is now he's on the
Top
top
line,
line.
top power play.
Freaking Braden Point and
Yeah,
Kucherov.
again, Yuri Patera. I
What?
actually I thought we were
What
going
does
to
Yuri
talk.
Patera have to do with it?
Well,
Oh,
he's
oh,
in
like
net.
sure, but yeah, Paul also had a huge game the last game.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I guess that was
Go get
Benning.
him.
It was probably Bennington. Go get Nick Paul. Go get Nick Paul. Top line, top power play. Um, yeah, it's
Okay.
exciting. Good for him. Like clearly you can hear like, I guess the comp is like Brandon Hagel, right? Is Nick Paul going to
He was
become
awesome last year. Yeah.
as indispensable as Brandon Hagel? My hunch is no. I think Brandon Hagel is like a better like offensive player. And maybe like a well, no, not overall. Like Nick Paul like has like a really strong two-way forward quality to him. Uh, but I guess what I'm saying is I don't think he's going to be Brandon Hagel. But as long as he's top line, top power play, he's got a shot to do it.
Okay. Brian, I guess maybe you just don't want to admit that Nick Paul is like so amazing because you're burnt as a Sens fan because the Sens used to have him. Of course, now the big news in Ottawa, they've fired the coach. I don't know if you like that segue or not. Would love to
Eh.
hear your thoughts on DJ Smith being fired.
Yeah, I think it was a long time coming. Like it's sort of been a lame duck coach situation in Ottawa for a little while. The prevailing thinking was that when this team was ready to take it to the next level, that they would do that behind the bench too. When Dorian was lost his job, that was really the first domino to fall. And now the next one. I think it only took so long because like Steve Stais came to Ottawa and like the thought, oh, okay, he's gonna clean house, and Ottawa and new ownership was like, no, 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 don't worry about it. And I think they were really trying to hold to their word, and then eventually their hand was forced, and they could no longer do that. So what does this do for Ottawa? I mean, Jacques Martin behind the bench is a real trip with Daniel Alfredson. For Jacques Martin really got made his coaching reputation with the Sens, right? That's where he started, and the
Yeah.
Sens made their reputation with Jacques Martin.
Well, my memory of Jacques Martin, my main one, is he was like such a great coach in the regular season, but then they couldn't win a playoff series against the
Yeah,
Leafs, and they ended up firing him because like we need someone who can take the Sens past the first round. But now we're at a point where we just need to get back to the playoffs, baby. So Jacques Martin is the perfect guy to bring in, and then once they make the playoffs, then we'll worry about it.
I think there are a lot of problems to solve in Ottawa, and clearly, like a lot of the personnel is there, but not fully. But they should be doing better than they are. And one thing, I mean, we'll see. Like the one thing Jacques Martin was known to be able to do during his initial run as a coach was to lock it down defensively, right, and have a really strong, steady system. And yeah, maybe it didn't have the flexibility you needed to then go ahead and win in the playoffs, or maybe there was also just a lot of other extraneous factors, including bad luck. Both things could be true. So I would expect Ottawa to maybe figure things out a little better systemically with Jacques Martin. There's going to be an adjustment period. It might impact offense. Hopefully, it will positively impact defense. But we'll wait and see exactly what the impacts are going to be. But it's going to be interesting. It's funny, Elon, because like you mentioned, like Nick Paul leaving Ottawa. He was like, I don't know if you remember. I've brought this up a couple times on the show. There's this Twitter account, Jack Maxwell. Do you remember this alleged Sens fan on their Twitter bio, Canada born and raised, proud member of the Seventh, which was like, and like their avatar, the Seventh is like some like season ticket holder lounge or like club, like it was weird, like it was like some promotional thing, and it was like this has to be Melnick. Like there's no other explanation. Like this is, and they just like would get so mad. And Jack Maxwell's last tweet, which was before Melnick died and has not tweeted since. So, I mean, take whatever you will from that,
Hmm.
was nickel and dime Paul. Better smarten up fast, or he will be, or he will, the hashtag selfish six will become, this is all like spelling and grammar errors, sick, right? SIC will become the hashtag selfish seven, and he will join Karlsson, spelled with $2, Turris, spelled with $, Stone, spelled with $, Greedowitzki, do you even
Borowitzki was too
Greedo
greedy.
Wiecki? Yeah. Duchesne with $, but spelled like the Steve Duchesne, not the Matt Duchesne way. Plus JG Pay Me as greedy guys who choose money over the little kids and us fans here in Ottawa. Hashtag go Sens go.
I think there's little kids in like other hockey markets. Like I'm sure
Yeah,
Nick Paul,
they're choosing the little kids in San Jose and the little kids in where did tourists go? Was it Nashville?
Nashville.
And the little kids in Vegas and the little kids in Nashville. Oh, Borovetsky too. Anyway, a little bit of Sens lore there for
Okay.
anyone. Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say that maybe they didn't squeeze as much as they could have out of Nick Paul, but
No,
Tampa's a
well they tried to squeeze too much out of it. I feel like my recollection was they were like like a half a mil apart, or not even like a quarter mil. Like it was silly. And anyway, it was a
anyway.
loss for the team, but a gain for the
He's
other
gone.
team. A gain
They have Matthew Joseph.
a gain for the team and kids in Tampa.
Right. And right now, a gain for a point in Kucherov. Anyway, okay, this is a short shift. We didn't have time for that, but whatever.
Sorry,
That's
coming
this is
in
our
hot.
short shifts, Brian. We could do what we
My short
want.
shift just
We could do what we
started.
want here. Yeah, well, we're almost done actually.
Um,
So I
Probably
had
for
a
the
couple like
best.
line stuff. Like I'm just gonna say these lines. I don't even know if there's that much to talk about. They'll probably change again, but I thought it was interesting. Today for the Canucks, Pius Suter. Brian, remember Pius Suter? Where he came in with Chicago, and I was like, I remember he was
I
like one of my
remember
guys that I kind of called, and I felt good about it. But then he became a nobody, and he went to wherever he went. I don't even remember. Detroit, I
Detroit.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, now he's on Vancouver, and today he's playing on the top line with Pedersen and Mikheyev. So no more Sam Lafferty on the top line. Um, I don't think anything of this, except I just thought it was interesting, and I thought I'd throw it out there that this is the current trio they're going with.
Yeah, I feel like my wonder is is like is anyone ever going to stick here, right? Like, should you be rushing to grab the
Well,
guy who
yeah.
appears to be on the top line in Vancouver? Or should you just know that like this is someone who's going to cycle in and then cycle out? Because it's a good spot to be, but it's not a sticky spot for anyone who's found it. Like I'm trying to bring up
Well,
the list.
Kuzmenko was there,
Well,
right, for like
Kuzmenko
most
was
of last
there,
year, but now he's getting a healthy scratch
Lafferty,
today.
Connor Garland. Those are the three guys who have spent the most time alongside Pedersen and Mikheyev, right?
Yeah.
So, eh, neither
Well, I mean
one
that's
has
the
really been
issue.
that attractive for very long.
Yeah, the plan was for it to be Kuzmenko all year long. The problem is
Yeah.
that he's not doing well, and the coach hates him, and he'll probably get traded or something. I don't even know what's going to happen with him. If you search for Kuzmenko, you'll get a lot of Leafs fans talking about how the Leafs should trade for Kuzmenko because that's what happens when you search for any player.
Yeah. When you search for
Um,
any player, it's Leafs trade proposals because they
on
need every player that every team wants to get rid of. That's all the
as
Leafs are
well.
missing is that one guy whose team is already so mad at him.
Remember when Kurashev seemed like he was like a lock to be on the top line in Chicago for a while?
I
That's
do.
changed. That's changed. So today it's Ryan Donato back. Remember going into the season? This
Oh
is gonna
my
be a whole just like
gosh.
remember when. So remember everyone was like Ryan Donato's the guy. He's on the top line, a top power play with Bedard and Taylor Hall. This guy's gonna be so freaking huge. And now it's like now I'm gonna ask you the same questions I did at the start of the season. Donato on the top line with Bedard, not with Taylor Hall. Lucas Reichel is the other guy who's also someone going into the season. If you would have told me there'd be a Donato, Bedard, and Reichel line, I would have been pretty excited. But at this point, I'm like, I don't I don't care at all. I don't even
Yeah.
care.
I think there's just not enough to work with in Chicago. Like we thought maybe Bedard could carry everyone with him, and Bedard is like 74-point pace on a team that stinks, right? Like in over three shots a game, playing 19 and a half minutes a night. So Bedard is doing everything we'd expect Bedard to do. His teammates aren't doing everything we'd expect Bedard's teammates to do, but maybe by the time he's 19 years old, he can carry two other grown adults to fantasy relevance along with him.
Yeah, Bedard is incredible, and I'm excited to see him like when he, like a McDavid, like get some like good players with him. Like Chicago has some good prospects, so I don't know, might be a little while. Did you see that picture, Brian, that went around Twitter today of it was Bedard and I'm not a big basketball fan, but I think he was like a number one pick in the NBA. Wembanyama, fun name.
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, so there's like they had a photo shoot together today, and it looks ridiculous. Like Bedard looks like a little child. It's like
I
this
mean,
is like
he
the
he
one of the.
basically is. He
It's
looks
like
like a little child next to anyone.
yeah, but here it's like this is like one of the best hockey players in the world, and it looks like to me in this picture he looks like he's like 8 years old. Like, but anyway,
I'm looking up the pictures now.
it was tweeted by like the official NHL account or something. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
funny.
that's pretty. I mean, okay, so the thing is that Bedard looks like a baby next to just about anyone, and Wembanyama looks like huge next to just about anyone.
How tall is this guy?
Like 7'4"? Yeah, seven. Oh, I was right. 7'4".
It's kind of weird, like the NBA, isn't it? Like it's kind of like you have to be a little bit of a freak of
Wow.
nature. Like I don't know, unless you're like Steve Nash. Like I don't know. Like remember, I don't know. It's like I've never met anyone like above 6'5", I think. Or maybe 6'4" even. Like I'm trying to think of the tallest person I've ever like hung out with, like socially. It's like 7, whatever you said. It's like too tall. It's like that's like I don't know. And then it's like, but yeah,
It's
it's like
too
you're
tall.
well, it's like
That's
not too
too
tall.
stop growing. Come
It's just
on.
like
This is you're tall. We get it. This is
but
ridiculous. We
so
would have
then it's just
thought so
like
at 6'9". You could have stopped.
and then it's like, okay, so put this person in the NBA. And now it's like if people are gonna keep getting taller, then it's like at some point, isn't the NBA gonna be the nets will be too short? Have they ever raised the nets? Has that ever happened?
I don't know. I feel like maybe they started at 10 feet and now they're 12 feet, but I could be wrong about that. Do
I
you know
gotta
who the
imagine.
yeah, do you know who the tallest player to ever play in the NHL was?
Is it Chara? I don't
It
know.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
He's 6'9". I would be more interested to see him stand next to Wembanyama.
Yeah, well, he'd look small, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like those
I
pictures of Andre the Giant beside like Hulk Hogan or something, and and it's like, well, Hulk Hogan looks small. It's like weird.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is veering into patron cast
Do you remember
territory.
Michael Rye?
No,
He was 7'9". He was a North Korean
and was he a
who,
basketball player?
yeah, and he almost made it to the NBA. I don't think he did. But for some reason, like there's an Ottawa connection. Like he spent time training in Ottawa as like he after leaving North Korea, and he I don't think he defected or any, like he was just he came, like this was like a, I think a cord, I don't know. I shouldn't say too
Okay.
much without knowing the details because I don't want to make anyone angry. But there's a picture. Elon, do you know John Braun? This is
Yes.
this is definitely patron cast territory. There's a picture in the gym of the Ottawa JCC with John Braun standing next to Michael Rye, the 7'9" North Korean
Cool.
who, according to this Reddit post, almost made the NBA.
You know how like in boxing, there's like different divisions, and you kind of have to box against people that are somewhat your own like size. Should they do that with the NBA? Like maybe it would be interesting to watch like the all tall NBA and then watch like the more like standard height. Like not like 6'5" max kind of NBA. I think would be interesting. Maybe it's a stupid
I
idea.
mean,
I'm just thinking off
there's
the top of my head.
advantages and disadvantages to being tall.
I guess. Yeah, but yeah,
Like,
maybe that.
would you suggest the same for the NHL, like the under 6 foot NHL?
But these are still like people who, anyways, I don't know why I don't even care that much. I'm just saying things because they're coming to my head. Like, I don't actually feel strongly about this at all. Like, but I feel like most NHLers are, even if they're big, they're not like, you don't like turn your, like walking down the street, you're like, what the heck? Like you still like look like kind of like normal people, like that you would see on a regular basis. NBA is like 7 feet tall
These
people.
people aren't. They just want to be normal too,
Sure. Well,
Elon.
they want to be professional athletes. It's different.
I wonder
How
if
the,
they would trade it all to be a
to be
normal height,
to be normal height. Yeah.
to be the
Anyway,
average height.
but yeah, I don't want to say normal, like whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of
Anyway.
judgy. I,
Okay.
I think it's amazing,
It's
the feats,
incredible.
the athletic feats that somebody that
I kind
like
of want to,
I can
yeah.
barely control my own body. I'm 5'10". My appendages are all long enough. There's not
Honestly,
much
Brian, at
more I
this
can
point,
do.
yeah, I don't even know if this is like good content or if this is making me sound like a bad person. I don't even know. So let's end it here. This has been Short Shifts.
What's
For more
Don't
of
you want to
this,
clarify that you're a good person?
I don't know, it's up to, I mean, who am I to say that?
Okay.
Like,
You're a
oh,
good
yeah, I'm
person.
sure every person says they're a good person. All the most evil people, I'm sure, think like I'm a good person. The dudes
Everyone's the
from my
hero of their
family.
own story.
Walter White, I'm sure, thought he was a good person.
He did.
It's a fictional person, but still. Ask the writers if they thought Walter White was a good person.
He was kind of
Or
tall.
was he?
I don't remember.
I think it's regular. I don't know, average. I keep saying regular. I feel like that's like not cool, right? Like in this
I
day and
think,
age, you're not supposed to say regular. Like
who
you're
was the
supposed.
tallest guy on Breaking Bad?
I don't know. Okay. So this has been Short Shifts. Hope you liked it. And
And
Brian,
was it
I've got
weird?
I'm gonna have a special guest to do the show with this weekend because Brian is gonna be away for the whole show this time, and then we'll be back. I'm not gonna even announce it. I'll let it be a fun surprise. You'll see it in your feed, but definitely make sure you're subscribed to get that. And then Brian and I will be back with a patron cast as promised at some point when Brian comes back from his dalliances, off traveling the world, like, being too busy to podcast. And then one day he'll come back from his hobnobbing with the glitterati, and he'll hang out with us and we'll do a patron cast. So
Yeah,
that'll
I
be
mean, I'll
whenever.
miss you all while I'm in London, Ontario. But thank you. As I from my Well, I jet set over there. I know you'll hold it down with. I mean, it's not a little kid. I'd say he's pretty real.
Okay, very good. Good,
There's
good hint.
just a couple little hints to maybe.
All right, thanks everyone.
Okay,
Play smart, keep your shifts short.
short.
Bye. Cool. I'm gonna go watch Survivor.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hi,
I hope I
pal. Hope
didn't
everything.
derail everything too much for
I
you
mean,
there. I had fun.
okay,
Thanks.
great. See you.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone. I didn't join the chat, but thank you.